Right, I'm going to start solving this using the quadratic formula. So commit this from memory. I like to put brackets around this because that's what I'm going to put in the calculator. They're very useful for looking after negative numbers. If you've got negative numbers, they take care of the calculation. The calculator takes care of the calculation. So now part of my calculation is to determine what the value of A, B and C is. A is 3, B is -8, C is +2. So now I'm going to substitute these numbers into the letters. Don't forget the minus, that's part of the calculation. B is -8. Let the calculator deal with this situation. You know it's going to be a +8, but let the calculator deal with it. I'll start off with a plus and then I'll go back and do the minus in the next part of the calculation. A is 3, C is 2. A is 2 again. Always useful to check that you've got the right numbers there. So before I put this in the calculator, always check that you've got everything right here. Right, so clearly I made a mistake here, haven't I? So it's always useful to check. So some of you might have noticed this already, but here we go. Had I not done that, if I'd not checked and put this in the calculator, I would have got things wrong. Now I need to stick this in the calculator. Start off with the fraction button. Copy exactly what you got here. Always useful to check that you've got everything in place. If you've already checked this, then you should check this as well to make sure that's matching that. Yep, everything's fine. So bring the cursor down. Two times 3, 6. Right, I'll get this. I'll just copy that down. Press the SD button. If I round that to 2 decimal places, that's the first value of X. Right, the second one, same calculation, but this time it's going to be a minus. So I need to copy that, but this time with a minus. I've got most of the calculation already, the template for the calculation already, so all I've got to do is go back and edit it. I just got to change that plus into a minus, so I take the cursor back already, all the way back. It's not touchscreen, so it takes a while. Right, press the equal button. Right, get that in third form, so copy that. Press the SD button. So to 2 decimal places, to just be consistent with this, I rounded this to 2 decimal places. If I want to round this to 2 decimal places, it's going to be X equals 0.28. Those are the two values. If I was to substitute this value into here and here, I'll get almost 0. Same with this one. The reason why I say almost, because I've rounded the number, so I'm not putting the exact number. If I was to put this, that's the exact form, back into the X, yes, I should get 0. But because this is an approximation, well, it's not approximation, it's a rounded number, putting it back into this and into this would get me nearly 0. What if you get something like this? Well, notice, to be able to use a quadratic formula, you need to have a 0. You've got to have a 0 on this side, on one side of the equation. Well, this one doesn't. So what can I do to prepare it? Well, make that 0. To get rid of -1, you add 1. Do the same on the other side. So now you got 1 add 1. 1 take away 1 is 0. So now you can see, I'm not going to do anything more with this because I've already solved this right here. This equation, that equation there has already been solved. Right. So I've got my two answers. I've solved the quadratic, got the two answers, and these are rounded, not very accurate. They're accurate to 2 decimal places. But that there, the third form, is the most accurate answer. If I want to check to see if this answer is correct, what I would do is substitute that back into my expression on the left hand side to see if it gives me 0. But it's not going to give me exactly 0, is it? Because this answer is rounded. Right, so let's show you. That's what it was. That's slightly more accurate than this one. But even this one here is more accurate than this. Those digits carry on a lot more to the right. Right, so that's been rounded to so many decimal places, and that one there has been rounded to 2 decimal places, even less accurate. So what do I do? How do I check? Well, the last calculation that I did is stored in the N.Das button. It's in memory. So whatever calculation that you did, when you press that equal button, that answer gets stored in the N.Das. So at the moment, N.Das has this, contains this. So what I'll do is now substitute that into the X. But I don't want to type all that in. That's going to be quite difficult on the calculator. It is possible, but it is quite time consuming. So what I can do now is just going to copy that expression into my calculator. Right. Instead of X, I'm going to put N.Das because I know N.Das contains this number here, this number in third form. That's squaring. Right, again, X, I'm taking on the value, this value here, which is stored in N.Das, plus 2. Now, if I press the equal button, I should get 0. So if I've done everything right, it should be equal to 0. There you go, 0. I've got my 0. So this was correct. What I did was correct earlier on.